You can choose to not eat a food or avoid it because you're allergic or you have an intolerance to that food, and still not think of that food as a bad food. I'm extremely gluten intolerant. Celiac runs in my family and I have celiac risk genes. But because I was overweight and not underweight, it took a long time to find a doctor who thought it was a possibility. By that time, I'd already been gluten-free long enough that the testing would not work. And I felt so much better and felt like I really didn't need that diagnosis to motivate me to continue to be gluten-free. I really don't find it that hard. But I don't think of wheat as a bad food. I think of it as a food that doesn't work for me. And I think it's really important to differentiate between those two descriptors. When you label something as a bad food, not only are you importing a moral judgment on that food, but you're taking on that same moral judgment if you eat that food, whether on purpose or by accident. And yes, it's okay to choose to eat a food that you know doesn't work for you, but that's informed consent. You have an idea of what the consequences are going to be. And in your cost-benefit analysis, if you decide the benefit outweighs the cost, then that is a valid choice. But don't think of yourself as bad for eating a bad food. You simply opted to eat a food that doesn't work for you because of convenience while you're traveling or flavor because you're at a celebration. It doesn't matter what the benefit was. You chose it, and that's fine. And if it was an accident, you didn't know that what you were about to eat contains the thing that doesn't work for you. Sucks when that happens. Last time it happened to me, I was sick for days, like food poisoning level. Ooh, it's awful. But if you can let go of the value judgment of that food as a bad food, then while that accident is no fun, maybe downright miserable, you don't feel like you have to lay blame, whether on yourself or someone else, for it happening. And instead, you can get right to the solution-oriented mindset and try to figure out how to lower the risk of it happening again, knowing the risk is never going to be zero. If you have an allergy, maybe that's carrying an EpiPen with you. Whenever I eat out of the house, I take a gluten digesting enzyme. It's called Gluten Away by Just Thrive. It's not perfect, but it definitely lowers the severity of symptoms from small exposures. And I think one of the biggest benefits of not labeling a food that doesn't work for me personally as a bad food is it keeps me from generalizing. Just because it doesn't work for me doesn't mean it's a bad food for everyone.